أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Viewers, being a Muslim, it's our confirmed faith that Allah Almighty is the sustainer of this universe, and Allah Almighty is providing the provision to all His living creatures in this universe. And if someone is providing or giving any quantity of provision or risk to another person, it means not that he is also the provider or sustainer of this earth. It means not that he is obvious sustainer. It means if someone is giving some provision or risk to another person, it means that he is giving his own part that is also blessed by Allah Almighty to this man, and he is contributing his own provision to another person. And we cannot derive the meanings that other than Allah there is anybody that can sustain or provide the provision on this earth. No, it's obvious and clear-cut or confirmed faith that only Allah Almighty is the sustainer of this universe, all living creatures. And it's commonly said in our Muslim society that the quantity of provision that is provided by Allah Almighty to the mankind, that is being considered the standard of love or anger of Allah Almighty. No. If someone has lot of quantity of provision or risk, it means not that Allah Almighty is happy with him. And if someone has less quantity of provision, it means not that Allah Almighty is angry with this person. No. This is not a standard of love of Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty tests us. Sometimes He provides us a lot of quantity of provision or risk, and sometimes Allah Almighty provides us the less quantity of provision or risk to His man or mankind. Allah Almighty wants to test us that my man, how much he remembered me in happiness and how much he remembered me in anxiety or in trouble time. It's the test of Allah Almighty. It's not the standard of happiness of Allah Almighty or the love or anger of Allah Almighty. It's commonly said in our society that person has a lot of quantity of provision or risk. It means Allah Almighty is happy with him. No, he is under trial. Allah Almighty has given him a lot of quantity of provision and risk, and he will be accountable on the day of judgment. If Allah Almighty is providing a lot of quantity, he will be accountable. If someone has given the less quantity of provision or risk, he will be also accountable, whatever the quantity he taken from Allah Almighty. So, it's concluded that we cannot derive the meanings that someone has a lot of quantity, so Allah loves him, and someone has less quantity of provision, so Allah is angry with him. No, it's not a standard of love of Allah Almighty and not the standard of anger of Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty tests us, puts us in under trial, that how much my slave, how much my man remembered me in these two status, in difficulty and in happiness. This is the test of Allah Almighty. This is the trial of Allah Almighty. As Allah Almighty says in Holy Quran, And as for man, when his Lord tries him and is generous to him and favors him, he says, "My Lord has honored me." But when he tests them by limiting their provisions, they protest, "My Lord has undeservedly humiliated me." It's mean Allah Almighty is saying into the Holy Quran that when the quantity of provision is given to the man in lot of quantity, then he says that Allah Almighty has honored me, gave me respect. And sometime when his provision is limited, he says that Allah Almighty has humiliated me. No, it's not a standard of anger and love. It is a standard of trial and test. Allah Almighty want to check or test that how my man or person or slave remembered me in both situations. May Allah Almighty bless us the efforts to be content in both situations, in lot of quantity and less quantity time of provision. Ameen. Summa Ameen.